Hello everyone, I'm Bradley Sward, and this is my Day 15 Part 2 solution to Advent of Code 2024. The problem is called Warehouse Woes, and for the first time of all 30 stars this year, I'm using something other than Python. I'm going to be using GameMaker Studio to visualize our little friend moving around and pushing all the boxes around. So for Part 1, it was relatively simple. We could brute force that. You could watch my other video or someone else's video if that's interesting to you. But for this one, we need to figure out, we have our grid spaces. Everything is double wide, just how it works. Every grid space is double wide except for our little friend, the little guy that's going to be pushing is it a lanternfish? I don't even know, whatever it is. Whatever he is, we're going to be moving him around and we're going to be putting him in a space so he's not double wide like everything else. But all the other rules apply. If I move left, he tries to move left. If he moves right, up, down. And he can push multiple boxes because he's still strong enough to push them all around. And so it's just a matter of, like adding to that. And GameMaker Studio will supply this, and it will do this graphically with collision detection and whatever nonsense you see here. So when I'm said and done here, my solution should be 1,492,011. And when we get there, we'll show that. So let me show you what I did here in GameMaker Studio. So this is my room. I mean, if you don't understand GameMaker Studio, don't worry about it. So I need a play area, and I just made this play area 1600 by 900. So that's the size of my room. I have this little guy here that's going to start everything. It's my data object. And so, but also before that, I have sprites for the three guys here. So just to make this graphically large enough so we can witness what's happening, I made my boxes 32 pixels by 16. I made the walls the same, 32 pixels by 16. And since my hero, our little guy, is not double sized, he's 16 by 16. So I had to make sure when I modified everything to make it look nice that I moved everything around so that the bounding boxes fit exactly those spaces. GameMaker is famous for screwing that up for whatever reason. But anyway, so I have my sprites and I have my objects. I have my hero object, my box object, and my walls. And this data object is going to be, basically controlling the action. So the data object, when it's created, I just hard coded this because after everything else, I didn't want to just figure, going back and making this general use wouldn't be too hard. I just didn't do that right here in this case. But here is my grid, here is my settings, here is my move settings, and then this is the code that generates the room and begins the, creating all the objects for frame 0. And so you'll see that when I run this guy. So then that is how I create this thing, and then basically every so often, in this case I made it go pretty much as fast as possible because this thing will be going at, like I don't even know how fast. 20,000, or it'll be 20,000 frames, and so just to get an answer in a reasonable amount of time, I just kind of made it basically run 60 frames per second, so it takes about 5 minutes or so to run, but you get a nice enjoyable view. So basically, every so often we try to see, well, which direction is next in the list of things, and we just send that information to the hero object, and then they're going to do the movement and they're going to affect the boxes, and we'll show that here in a second. And so that's how that works. And then on the draw of things here, this is where we're also going to just display, you're going to display the series of symbols, and then we'll see the score at any moment in time. We'll see the score, and then we'll be able to see what frame we're at while we're going through too. So that's how the data object works. But in the hero object here, we can say like, well, how many moves should this thing make? And originally I was going to have it animate, and then it just didn't work right, and I still don't necessarily care about that. I'm not worried. We can make it look nicer if we want to later on, but it keeps track of the direction, and I guess I don't need to worry about this negative. Yeah, I guess I need just get it started. I need the -1. But then now in the step event, this is where all the magic happens. And so basically here, if the character should move, I try to figure out, well, which direction should I move? What is my dx and dy? Am I trying to go up, down, left, or right? And then from there, it's just a question of, well, if there's no walls in front of me and there's no boxes, well, it's an empty space, so move there. But if there isn't a wall and there's a box, well, then now we need to figure out how many boxes are in play, and if any of these boxes, as I'm trying to push them, as the character is moving also, are touching a wall, then we just basically nope out of this thing and say, nope, there's nothing to move. And so basically it starts from the box that I'm trying to push, and it says, well, what is that box colliding with? And then what are those boxes colliding with, until we've run out of unique boxes to test. And then if every one of those boxes is not going to be touching a wall when I push it, I basically just go ahead and I just say move the player or move the person or whatever it is, and then move all the boxes accordingly. So that is how I did things in GameMaker. And let me just show you what it looks like, and I'll just be quiet here until it runs, and you'll get to see everything in action. So let's see here. So here I'll drag it over. So here is my little gameplay. Here is what's going to be going down. Here's the frame number, and here's the score. And let me just pull up real quick here. Let me just pull up this guy, and then draw it with this guy, so we can compare. We should be getting that number when it's all said and done. And let's do it, and have a good night, everyone. Huzzah! Have a good one, everybody.